You never really had a chance anyway. Have you heard of Foamstars? Silly question, I know, but there's a good chance some of you haven't. Early 2024 marked this game's release, and I was one of the 7 people to notice. This was Square Enix's attempt at trying to make a new, unique multiplayer game that ended up failing miserably. For whatever reason though, this game has not left my mind since release. I wasn't an active player by all means, I was very much a part of the problem. But you know what? I've been interested in looking back at the game and figuring out what went wrong. What was it that really killed Foamstars and who defaced his grave? Ew. Foamstars is a 4v4 multiplayer shooter with a large emphasis on covering the terrain with your team's color. Okay, I see where this is going. Alright, the comparisons have been made before, but realistically, these games do differ quite a bit. But you can't really blame people for realizing these games are similar though. Bright, colored liquids being used to cover a team's territory? Gee, I wonder where the inspiration lies. But hey, originality can only take you so far, right? Sometimes it's better to just borrow ideas. And speaking of borrowed ideas, foam. For an easy comparison, I want you to think about how Splatoon uses its ink. Now, imagine if that whole gameplay system was just bad. By far the easiest aspect of Foamstars to pin blame on is its core gameplay. It's lacking in all of the most important areas. Let's just go over this quickly. This is how foam works. Shoot some blobs of foam out and they'll stick to the ground. The more you stack up, the higher a pile will build. When an opponent shoots their colored foam onto yours, the foam dissipates and gets replaced by their color. A very simple to understand mechanic. Now Square, you understood the very core basics. Why did you stop there? Okay, let's run a quick test. How many games can you think of that play like Splatoon? Not including the obvious one. I don't really know of any, personally speaking, unless you want to count, like, fucking the Blob. I wouldn't. What I'm trying to say is that Splatoon is so damn unique, and a lot of companies can't seem to replicate it right. It's all about covering turf in your color. The more ground covered in whichever color wins the match. What's that? You got enemies after you. Kill them. Splat them, and they'll be out of your way. All weapons are tied to your ink meter. In fact, the whole damn gimmick is tied to this one mechanic. The more ink consumed, the less you have in store. Naturally, with any gun, you're gonna take out the magazine, reload the bullets. No. Just sink into the ink. And while you're there, you might as well move around, swim to move faster, swim to scale walls, swim to a hiding spot, and act like you're playing Metal Gear. Ink is the ultimate multi-tool. And now foam is like if you got rid of mostly everything, it inherently functions worse because Square Enix just didn't correctly implement it. For one, covering the ground in foam is not crazy important. The main mode is a deathmatch. Covering the ground is only useful for being able to move around quickly. Standing in your own foam is fine. Standing in enemies' foam will make you slow and vulnerable. Naturally, you're going to want to move around quickly, and you can by using a surfboard, which I'll give them credit to that. The surfboard's pretty good. Using this efficiently makes games very fast-paced, and very satisfying to skirt around enemies. It also doubles as your main form of securing a point. Even though you can fully foam up another person into a big ball, that doesn't count yet. But surfing into them and knocking them away secures the goal. Alternatively, if your teammate is foamed, you can free them by doing the same. All in all, surfboard good. That was really well done. However, please note that the only good function is the one with the least relevance to foam. More notably, your main weapon is linked to this meter, just like Splatoon's. As you'd expect, everything works and revolves around this meter. Wrong. Only the main weapon works on this. Side weapons work on a cooldown, and simply recovering meter is just a reload button. Now, that's not necessarily bad, but the more things that aren't connected to this whole system, the less important it is. The gradual recovery that Splatoon uses lets you get into action quicker. Going in with that mindset is more or less going to get you eliminated. because you won't realize your foam needs to be reloaded. Now, I want to briefly mention foam's unique capabilities in adjusting its elevation mid-game. Essentially, the more foam you shoot out in a certain spot will build up and change the map's terrain. So surely that adds a huge layer of gameplay difference. Haha, wrong again, chuckle nuts. What would you expect a wall of foam to do? I imagine it'd be good to hide behind, but oh, wait a second. Everyone is visible at every point in time, including the opponents. Hiding is simply not an option. Well, that's fine. How about using the added elevation to reach higher platforms? That's useful for scaling harder to reach platforms, except it's not. Most platforms that require jumping, you can get to pretty easily by jumping. Either that, or the stage is already designed to easily access higher areas. It all just feels incredibly shoehorned in. The whole unique functionality of its gameplay is just not needed, nor is it encouraged to be used like this. Most times you're going to focus on just getting eliminations and only really care about the terrain when you're running away. That is what I call a failure. Speaking of a failure, Square Enix, you sadden me with your immense greed. Do you remember when the game first came out? No, you fucking don't. Why did I ask you that? Foamstars is free to play now, but it was $30 at launch. Plus the online service needed to play, that's at least $40. But also the game was a free PS Plus monthly game, so you could just get it for $9. What was the point of that? Bottom line is, putting a price on this game already gave it a bad start. It doesn't help that there is still a battle pass and item shop system too, because of course there is, why wouldn't there be? Let's see the prices for these. Oh! I don't even like buying full games for this price. Who the hell would ever spend this much on a single set of cosmetics? Considering they changed these prices relatively quickly, and now nothing is above $20, I'm assuming no one, thankfully. We agree this is just complete corporate greed, right? Me personally, seeing cosmetics get tagged up to $20 worth already seems like a bit much. I say that like I didn't just spend $40 on a Miku Fortnite skin, but we've all got our exceptions. Foamstars being an already priced game, on top of the paid online subscription needed, and then having the balls to mark cosmetics this high, it's not the least surprising why they lost 95% of their player base within 2 months. Oh, that's true, by the way. It really did only take 2 months for them to lose almost everyone. Foamstars failed to keep players interested in it long term. It did not correctly understand what made Splatoon so fun and entertaining to millions, trying its best to recapture it, but inevitably failing. And yet, everything I've brought up isn't necessarily the actual reason for its failure. While making this video, I streamed some matches to my friends and showed them bits of gameplay. Mostly just so they could get a grasp on the game, cause some of them hadn't previously played it. Now, each one of them said that by watching Foamstars footage, it just makes them want to play Splatoon, and that to me is exactly why Foamstars failed. Greedy monetization is one thing, but making your player base realize they'd much rather play the game you copied from is a much bigger problem. I did not want to make this entire video about comparing and contrasting these two games, but trying to really pinpoint what Foamstars did wrong is a lot harder when not directly looking at the original source for comparison. Even with that now, by far the biggest problem Foamstars ran into was players simply asking themselves, why would I play this over Splatoon? I'm sure a lot of you watching had that same thought, because it's a genuinely good question. If you already own Splatoon, and you enjoy it, there's not much reason to switch to an alternative. This is a game built around its ink mechanic. Every little thing is influenced around ink, whether it's level design, usable weapons, or puzzles to be solved. This is a game that had a gimmick thrown into it with no real direction or understanding of how to use it effectively. I can't help but feel at least a little bad for them. You know what? I'll at least give you a good job sticker. You deserve that much. Foamstars will probably go down in history as not the biggest flop of 2024. Sony gets that trophy. Good job to them. But it will be marked as a big fumble for Square Enix. I've spent a lot of time dragging this game and tarnishing its name more than it did itself, but there is one really good aspect to Foamstars I've yet to mention. Now, when I tell you that this little multiplayer game from last year that nobody really paid attention to might unironically be one of the best soundtracks Square Enix has ever produced, I'm being completely honest. Look, if I had to give a point to Foamstars for anything, it will absolutely be the music. I'd probably go as far as to say it's better than Splatoon's OSTs, and that's not just me saying, haha, gurgling piss lyrics. No, I love Splatoon's music so much. But Foamstars' soundtrack is just so goddamn amazing. It is my favorite soundtrack from 2024, being comparable to a lot of other notable games. I want this to be the reason Foamstars is fondly remembered. This is now an album first and a game second. Just throw that part away, actually. This little game that I barely cared for, a game I didn't play for more than a couple minutes on launch, managed to stay lingering in my mind for months. And the whole reason for it was just because of how beautiful the OST is. However, sorry, it's not all perfect. Look, Square Enix, I love ya. But you just keep pissing me off today. It was pretty evident that you were expecting Foamstars to flop, but you still went through the effort and created a game with an amazing OST. But then you go and you can't even give each song their own little album art, and instead you chose to use AI-generated images? You don't have a single graphic design intern over there that could have done it? I'll do it for you, if I must. Alright, moving on. Let's get to the music, starting with a good favorite of mine. If the vocals sound familiar, then I'm going to assume you're also a fan of the Nier series. This is Janique Nicole, English singer for Automata's main theme. This isn't her only inclusion either. She's in multiple songs, and yes, they're all equally amazing. A fun thing I found out while making this, they kept adding even more songs to the game in content updates. Most songs don't really play in the main game either. A lot are found in side modes that I didn't even know existed. This song shows up twice actually, once in a fast-paced version, and again in a slower, calmer version. For a very action-focused game, there are still plenty of relaxing songs too. This one sticks out to me the most. It kinda sounds like Final Fantasy XV's Rest Stop song, doesn't it? One last song to end us off, with a stark contrast to the rest. As we end the video off, let it be known that Foamstars is by no means an actual bad game. It is fun, it's just not the kind of fun you'd be clambering back to often. I enjoyed coming back and playing it, but it's just not something I'd spend a lot of my time with. If you found any interest in this game, I'd still say to give it a try, or at the least listen to more of the OST. This whole video really was just made so I could talk about the soundtrack. I do love it. But with that being said now, may Foamstars rest in peace. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Most don't do that. You also get a good job sticker. There you go. Thanks for sticking around for such a niche random topic. Despite that, I'm pretty happy with how this video turned out, and I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did enjoy it, consider sticking around. I have a lot of plans for 2025, some of which I may be discussing soon. Until then, see ya!